So now that you know what a computer network is at its most fundamental level, let's talk about some basic networking rules for communication. And so what are networking rules for communications? Well, we call those communication protocols. And so computer networks have to follow communication protocols to be able to send and receive data properly and effectively and for it to go through uncorrupted. Now, let's think about a good example. And a really good example is talking to somebody on the phone. So there are protocols, there are steps that you have to follow to call somebody and to have a successful talk on the phone call. So let's think about the steps. Well, the first thing is you have to know their number or their contact information to call them on your cell phone. If you don't know that, then your communication is going to fail. You can't talk to them. So you know their information, you dial their number. The next step is they have to hear the phone ringing and they have to pick it up and they have to respond. So if they don't hear it ringing, or if they pick it up and they don't respond, then again, your communication is going to fail. And then if they do respond and you don't respond, maybe there's something wrong with your mic, or you are just distracted and you don't answer when they talk back to you, then again, the communication is going to fail. So, we take this for granted. It's a super simple example, but it just shows how many steps are involved in just simply picking up the phone and calling somebody and having a conversation. So now let's get back to computer networks. So one simple rule, which is a general rule, and there are exceptions to it, one simple rule in communications between computers and computer networks is that when we are sending data from one computer to the other, it must be delivered uncorrupted, and if it is corrupted, then in many instances, it's going to be useless. However, there are exceptions to the rules, and just remember that there are, but for the most part, the data needs to come through uncorrupted. So think about an example where somebody tries to send you a picture over Gmail and they attach it and it comes through and it's all jarbled or you can't open it. Well, if it's uncorrupted, if it is corrupted, then it's useless. But if they send it through and it's uncorrupted, then you can open up and you can view the picture. So let's talk about this a bit more. So computers in a network must be capable of determining the origin and destination of a piece of information. And we did our example of doing a phone call. So when you're trying to call somebody on the other end, you have to know their destination number. So you have to know the phone number of the person you're trying to call. And again, if somebody's trying to talk to you, they have to know who was calling them so they could call them back. And so it's synonymous when we're talking about the computer world where we have one computer on one side of the communication, one computer on the other side. One's going to be the origin, one's going to be the destination where they're sending information back and forth. And it's the same thing for calling people back and forth. You have to know who to call and who you're talking to. Now, when we are talking about computer networks, we do use some special names, and those names are called IP addresses and MAC addresses. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of what those actually mean, but I just want you to remember that we'll be talking about them in the future, and I want you to have a basic understanding that there are communication protocols in place, and it's really going to come to light as we go through the course. And just remember the terms communication protocols and IP and MAC addresses, and you'll be good to go as we move on through the course.